Good morning. Happy Mother's Day to all. Welcome to the Michigan Law Show. And, sorry, I have to pull my chat up. Welcome, everybody. Jamie, Fiery, Kelly, everybody's here. And my mother. Happy Mother's Day, Mom. I wasn't the first to text her this morning, and I'm disappointed, but that's okay. I was the first of her child to text her this morning. Happy Mother's Day. So I win on that end. Happy Jody. Oh, sorry, you're gonna miss it a little bit, but yeah, you guys don't even celebrate Mother's Day this time of year over there, so I guess we're okay. But this is about your wonderful mother. This is about these wonderful mothers. And what is it called? Hang on, I got to pull it up here. It is called today's topic of discussion on this wonderful Mother's Day is about maternal filicide. Mothers killing their children. That's our topic for today. I thought it was appropriate, seeing how we finished Letitia Stout and Lori Daybell, and just recently, but we have all these other wonderful mothers. Look at them all. They look so lovely and caring and compassionate, and just, the quality of mother that you hope to rise to that level of. Morning, Jung. Good morning. Happy Mother's Day to Mrs. Helm. There you go. You guys get a happy Mother's Day wish. And yeah, so that's what we're gonna do later on today. I guess we'll do a little bit of housekeeping later on today. At 11, we're gonna go over the Let's Go Brandon case, the minister killing. We're going to talk a lot about that today. That's going to be a fairly long one. But since it is Mother's Day, I thought we would bring a special Mother's Day celebration stream to all you mothers out there ahead of time. And we're going to talk about the psychopaths that are not the best of mothers and shouldn't be celebrated, but should be discussed. So that's what we're doing. This is what you needed today. Thank you. I hope so. I hope this is, everyone's doing the, do the banners of the wonderful mothers. And we have, we have a lot of mothers out there that are not so good. Mo, by the way, Mo, I think will be joining me for the Brandon stream later on. She has, she's been covering a little bit on her channel, so I invited her on for the Brandon case. So if you guys want to hear more of Mo, she'll be joining us later. Monica, good morning. Welcome to our special Mother's Day stream. I thought it was appropriate. Oh, Steve Costney. Thank you. Yes, it is. This is like the best of topics for Mother's Day. I mean, this is MLS Law Show. This isn't, your morning news. This isn't CBS Happy Mother's Day kind of stuff. So we'll get into it. I have a couple of articles that we're going to discuss. One of it actually is involving sort of a study about why mothers kill, and it talks about 5 specific cases. And it's just a fascinating thing, especially doing a lot of family law. Not that I deal with mothers that kill their kids in family law, but I deal with a lot of mothers that sort of use their children as pawns and kind of put their children's needs way behind the line of their own. And it's just sort of a fascinating sort of dynamic that I've witnessed just in the family law thing. And then when you add in these crazy ass women that decide to go that extra step, I feel a little bit like Dr. Lewis. I want to know why, but I'm not going to be jaded nor skewed in my assessment of these women, like maybe Dr. Lewis is. I don't necessarily think there's anything wrong with them that we can pinpoint and then fix, but it's just an interesting sort of case study. Flux is in the house. Thank you for having me on your show yesterday. That was a lot of fun. Sorry, I was out shopping for milk earlier and I wasn't able to jump on earlier. It was a good show. So you guys could check out Flux's stream from yesterday where I was a prominent member for like 20 minutes before she had to shut it down and kick us all out. Let's see here. Trying to get through some of the chats. Your sweet and adorable thumbnail was as deceptive. Yes, it was. It was done on purpose, Amanda. It was done on purpose to deceive you all, to lure you in to my stream this morning. You know, I got to get viewers. We're up to 30 now. See, it wouldn't without the thumbnail. I don't know if we'd be there. Let's see here. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Billy. I don't know if I said hi to you. This is my kind of Mother's Day stream. Yes, it is mine too. It is mine too. Actually, I'm going to give full credit to this. This is my wife's idea when we were, engaged in our activities yesterday. You guys saw us in the tux. We were talking about today's stream and about doing something for Mother's Day. And then, so she sent me this article that we're going to go over and send to me these photos right here so we could organize all of this for you guys. So I'm going to give full credit to my wife, who's enjoying her Mother's Day without me. Just got done with church. Yes, why mothers kill? Why do mothers kill? Only came for the thumbnail. All right, so let's get into the article a little bit. And we'll talk about. I have no idea how long this stream is going to be. It's 9:38 my time. I have an 11 o'clock stream talking about the Let's Go Brandon murder trial, and so we'll kind of go and we'll feel it out and we'll go from there. But this is the article, and it says 5 mothers who killed their children. Moms who kill their children. So it apparently has a name, which I didn't know. Maternal filicide is not something. Filicide. Sorry, I said that wrong. Maternal filicide. It's not something people usually want to discuss, and for good reason. The thought of a mother killing their own child is depressing and horrifying. Tragically, this case occurs more frequently than one might think. And as I was researching this topic a little bit yesterday, I heard driving down the road, listening to the radio, heard a news report of a woman in Georgia that was arrested just yesterday for killing her 1-year-old. And so it just happens so often. The most common influencing factors, according to a study by the National Institute of Health, are depression, including postpartum depression, psychosis, prior mental health treatment, and suicidal thoughts. Let's see. We don't really need to go into all the details. Okay, so here's the 5. So altruistic filicide occurs when a mother believes death is in the child's best interest. Now, we saw that with Daybell, or at least that was her argument with Daybell, that it was in her, the kid's best interest, supposedly. Maybe, I don't know, maybe we didn't hear it in Daybell. I didn't really cover that trial much, but that was kind of alluded to because it was the end of the world and they were going to be the saviors or whatever. So it's possible that was kind of a Daybell thing. Then we have acute psychotic filicide involving a delusional mother who may be experiencing command hallucinations and may not appear to have any motive. That's an interesting one because we have a case similar to that with a woman who was charged recently. Let me see if I can pull that story up. Let's see here. Out of Massachusetts, she killed her 3 kids. And I feel like that's what this case is about. Although her lawyer says, her lawyer says it was psychosis. So we're going to talk about that one too. This one's really interesting because there's some 911 calls. I'm trying to pull up the picture of her. So there's some 911 calls, and she seemed like absolutely normal, all like forever. And then her husband came home. I can't remember if she called or he came home, and it was just like a chaotic scene. And she tried to kill herself afterwards, and then he found the children in the basement. But that's that case. which was recent out of Massachusetts. I think this article is, February of 2023. So this is past February. The devil made me do it. It works. Or barking dogs, right? What was that? Gacy said the neighbor's barking dog was a devil talking to him. Andrea Yates. Is that the name of this one? Andrea Yates. No. This is Lindsay. No. Andrea Yates. Yeah, Andrea Yates is the other one. Actually, I think we were talking about her in this article, if I'm not mistaken. It was Son of Sam with the barking dogs. That's right. Let's see here. Okay, so then we have fatal maltreatment, filicide occurs as a result of communal child abuse, neglect, and Munchausen syndrome by proxy. If you guys don't know what Munchausen syndrome by proxy is, it's essentially, Munchausen syndrome. Munchausen syndrome is when you kind of get excited by the idea of sympathy for having an illness, and then the by proxy is when you essentially make your child sick so that you can get that sympathy. There's a great HBO documentary about that came out maybe 3-4 years ago, where a mother intentionally paralyzed her daughter for most of her life, claiming that she was an invalid, and then the daughter kind of discovered she could walk and then ended up murdering the mom. It's a really interesting case on that. So it backfired on mom, I think, a little bit. Unwanted child filicide is when the mother believes that the child is a hindrance. Letitia Stout, and probably even a little Lori Daybell. And then spouse revenge filicide describes a mother who kills as an act of revenge against the child's father. And this is, I don't see that every day in my family law practice, but I do see a lot of revenge sort of being taken out against the kids. And it's just an interesting phenomenon to me because, I don't know, as a father, I could never do that. And I'm sure there are plenty of mothers out there that could never fathom it. But there are some that do. Let's see. That's a membership watch. A long movie. The HBO documentary, I can do that. That's a weird case, though. Kind of gives me the creeps. I don't know. I might just stream it and I'll back out for the day. I watched it once and then I wasn't. Yeah, maybe we could do that. We'll figure it out. Maybe I'll revisit it now after having done this for a little bit. Let's see here. I'd like to know what happens more frequently, maternal or paternal filicide. That's an interesting question, actually. Midnight Prayer. I would absolutely just be speculating, but I have a feeling it is maternal. Just my gut response, but I would like to see some research on that. My gut response is maternal because I feel like it's an emotional thing. You're acting more out of emotion than anything else, I guess. I don't know how to say that. That's why my gut goes that way. But that's an interesting question. Might have to look that up. Yes. Child then murders mom, backfires on mom just a little bit. Yes, it does. By the way, I'll say, as a family law practitioner, when one party uses the kids against the other during the custody and parenting time and divorce proceedings, whatever's going on, it usually backfires on that parent at some point, whether it's when the child turns 18 or when they get old enough to realize what exactly that parent is doing. Most of the time it ends up backfiring. I had a case, parental alienation. The divorce was filed like 8 years ago. It's been ongoing litigation since. Two of the older children who are just turned 18, and great relationship with my client, but it was horrible until then, and it really backfired on the other parent. It's just is what it is. It just, some backfires, I guess, are more extreme than the other. Valhalla, hello. Welcome. We are talking about the wonderful phenomenon that is maternal filicide. Mothers who kill their children on this greatest of all holidays. A cousin in Australia had a, let's see. And yeah, so postpartum depression is a major, it's one of the major factors that they list in this article. And that is, I'm not going to hold any fault to the particular mother who is suffering from that. But hopefully they can recognize the signs and get treatment. The other stuff, revenge on the spouse, the child's a hindrance, the devil made me do it kind of things. Those are a bit more, I don't know, a bit more out there for me to have the sympathy. Okay. All right. Let me keep scrolling through this article a little bit. So, Texas Tech University's Martha Smithy, I like that name, Smithy, has spent her career studying the social, economic, and cultural conditions and stressors that lead to infanticide. What is infanticide? I kind of want to look that. Can I search right here? Look up infanticide. Oh no, it's going to pull it up. The act of killing an infant. Okay, never mind. That wasn't as glamorous as I thought it was going to be. Okay, let me bring back my screen. There we go. Okay, now we're good. She introduced some sobering analysis on the phenomenon in 2020. My work and that of others make me realize that anyone is capable of hurting a child, she said. Anyone? Almost every story of maternal infanticide starts with a baby that won't stop crying, but the story is more than just bad or mental ill mothers who lethally assault their child. Smithy said, the story is about how hard it is to be a good mother in a society where women are expected to raise their children in their spare time and with their spare change. I didn't read this article before we went through. I just wanted to kind of get the names of the individuals and thought it would be a fun article. I don't necessarily agree with that statement. We'll just leave that aside for the moment. I mean, you've got like one job to do. Don't unalive them. Give them food, clothes, shelter. Just don't unalive them. I mean, that's the crux of the job, right? I tell my kids all the time when they like insist on, oh, I need this or I need that. I say, I got one job to do. It's to make sure you don't die. So it's not required of me to buy you this latest gadget or whatever you want to buy. Okay, let's take a look at 5 specific cases of mothers who murdered their kids. These stories are not easy to stomach, people. You've been warned. The thumbnail should have warned you about the topic for today's video. All right, so Marie Knoll. Marie Knoll was another mother who killed multiple children before Munchausen syndrome by proxy became a household word. Between 1949 and 1968, Maria gave birth to 10 children. 10 children. All 10 died at birth or shortly thereafter, 8 of them at the hands of their mother. The autopsies, however, revealed no evidence of murder. During the cesarean delivery of her 10th child, Maria suffered a uterine rupture and had to undergo a hysterectomy, likely saving an untold number of babies from certain death. Are we saving babies from certain death if they were never actually born? But okay. I mean, she can't carry any. Life carried on as normal in Philadelphia for Maria and Arthur Knoll until Philadelphia Magazine reporter Stephen Fried, whatever, read about Maria in a book called The Death of Innocence, which stated that multiple causes of sudden infant death syndrome, SIDS, in a family should be investigated. Fred interviewed Maria, who said, we just weren't meant to be parents, while her husband followed with, the Lord needed angels. Fred also interviewed medical examiners, healthcare workers who had attended to the Knoll children, and other parties versed in similar cases. When he was ready to write his article, he turned the findings over to the police. After Maria was brought in for questioning, she finally confessed to the death of 4 of the infants. So she confessed to killing at least 4. On August 5th, 1998, she was charged with 8 counts of murder. When the case hit the newspaper headlines, the public was stunned. A mother was being charged with the murder of her babies many decades after the death. But the shocker came after she pled guilty on June 28, 1999, and was sentenced to 20 years probation. 20 years probation, that's all she got. Citizens were outraged as protesters tried to explain that Maria, who was then 70 years old, could no longer bear children. It did little to eschew the outcries. Arthur Knoll died in 2009. Maria continues to live in the same Philadelphia home where she killed her children. She died in a nursing home in 2016. Okay, that's an interesting case because I feel like just the volume of children, not only that died, but probably were born, that whole thing sort of spurred that one on. 10 children, all died. It sounds like a couple of them like died in the hospital while trying to give birth, so those are probably legitimate, but she admitted to killing 8 of them. That's I mean, what years are we talking here? This is 1949 to 1968. Okay, so I don't know. Birth control, abortion aren't really options, I guess, at that time, but still, I mean, give them away. You know, people want children to adopt. Let's see. Female privilege are most apparent in criminal sentencings. It depends, I suppose, on the sentence or the crime, rather. I think her age, the fact that these cases were so old, I think that probably played more into her sentencing than anything else. Happy Mother's Day, all. Yes, happy Mother's Day. If you're coming in late and you didn't hear my happy Mother's Day, happy Mother's Day, everybody. This is sometimes it's good to emphasize the good by focusing on the bad. Let's see. Yeah, so I had a conversation with another attorney about this who has some kids years ago, and the idea is like, okay, so you go to the hospital and you give birth. By the way, you don't have to give birth at a hospital. You can literally get pregnant, carry it to full term, give birth at home. But despite that, you give birth, you get a birth certificate, and then the kid never shows up again in society for like another 6 years until they start kindergarten in reality. And even then, they don't really have to show up. And you're like, well, I guess the kid's okay. We've got no reports. But that's kind of the society I want to live in. So I'm okay with it. But it's just kind of fun to think about. Good morning. Happy Mother's Day, Stephanie. Let's see. Not if they are conceived. Yeah, that's kind of what I was going at. Yeah. So you're not, I guess, they're not dying if they're never conceived. That's the word I was looking for, conceived. All right. So that is Maria No. Actually, Maria No is pictured. Maria No is, let's see. I didn't do a good job of pointing these people out. Maria No is the center in the middle, at the bottom there. That is Maria No. So that's the one that we just went over. That is her. Oh, do we have some gifted memberships? Oh, see, these don't pop up on StreamYard, and it's all right. I have the screen. All right, so Wolfstrom, thank you for the 5 gifted memberships. Thank you. One went to Chaz, and I think everyone else in the stream is a member. So how did Broken Baker get? Oh, Broken Baker got one. No. Broken, if you're listening, try to enable memberships, gifts, membership gifts on your account so that you can get it. And anyone else who didn't get one, Midnight Prayer, you didn't get one, but you might need to enable membership gifts. So, yeah, so make sure you guys do that. Yes, that's the idea. We're all going to appreciate our mothers more after. Thank you, Mother, if you're still listening, for not killing me in infancy. I appreciate it very much. Happy Mother's Day to you. And I will be bringing over the potatoes later for dinner. All right, so we have Andrea Pye, Kennedy Yates. So we're just going to call her Andrea Yates because, is it Pye? Is that how you would say her middle name? She's got 4 names. That indicates a serial killer right there. Okay, Valhalla put a link, by the way, for any of those who need to enable gift. There's a link here in the chat. Thank you, Valhalla, for that. Can't get one because it's a brand account. Whatever that means, a brand account. That must be a Danish thing or something because mine's clearly a brand account. I don't have my name anywhere, and I have like 5 YouTube accounts. I have personal one or whatever. So I don't know. That's weird. My mother's in the chat. She didn't want to come on stream. Okay, so we have. No, I didn't want to. Yes, I make excellent potatoes. That's why she requested them. All right, so Andrea Yates. When someone thinks of mothers who murder their children, Andrea Yates is probably the first that comes to mind. And I think her name popped up in this chat so often when I just brought out the topic. On June 20th, 2021, or 2001, rather, a nation sat stunned as 5 lifeless bodies were removed from a family home in Houston, Texas. During a press conference, law enforcement officials struggled to maintain composure as they announced that Noah 7, John 5, Paul 3, Luke 2, and a 5-month-old Mary had been drowned one by one in the family's bathtub by their mother. Although postpartum depression was a recognized condition among medical professionals since 2001, the general public knew very little about it. As a matter of fact, most people considered it a mild condition that typically disappears within a short time following the baby's birth. But the public was unaware, was awarded a quick education in the varying degrees of postpartum depression. Andrea's husband, Rusty. Mother, let me know if there's any truth to the rumor that you planned on naming my brother Rusty back in the day. Had known his wife was depressed and struggled with parenthood, but he eventually left her alone, contrary to the doctor's advice. The court on public opinion began to swing to a more sympathetic view of Andrea. On July 26th, really, let me know if you guys have sympathy for Andrea in this scenario. I understand people suffer from mental health issues, but I don't find it as a excuse for murder in most cases. I don't find it an excuse for murder, period. Just in my mind. Oh, Dusty. Dusty was going to be my brother's name, not Rusty. Okay. Nope, none for her. Yeah, see, I understand it's an issue. I understand depression and anxiety is an issue. I understand there's all kinds of other mental health issues. I just don't see it as an excuse. And let me qualify that. Like, if you get drunk and you operate your vehicle and you kill somebody, you intentionally consumed and got into the vehicle. And even though you didn't intend to kill somebody, you still did. And it's not really an excuse. And I kind of feel it the same way. If you're suffering from something, I can, if the husband too, in this case, Rusty, he had doctor's advice not to leave her alone with the children, then maybe don't do that. I don't know. Just my sort of thoughts. Cool. Midnight Prayer. You got a membership. You get a membership. You get a membership. Who else do we get? Stephanie, Maz, Jackie, and Midnight Prayer all got memberships. And yeah, awesome. My mother's not a member yet, but she doesn't know how to do that. But thank you. Those 5 gifted memberships, I think all 5 have gone out by Wolfsrum. So thank you very much for all of that. Okay, so I don't remember exactly where I left off, but we're going to go back to on July 26, 2006. Andrea was found not guilty by reason of insanity. Ooh, was this televised? Because if she successfully was found not guilty by reason of insanity, I would like to follow this trial. So we might have something in addition to do after Jodi Arias. According to the People's Magazine, she has been at the Kentucky Mental Hospital in Texas since 2007. So this article was written 2023. Okay, so she's still in the mental hospital. So everyone talking about Letitia Stalk and what happened to her. This woman's been in the mental health hospital for that many years. So she's happy staying at the hospital. I would imagine you would be happier. Well, I don't know. You might not be happier depending on what hospital it is. I know nothing about this hospital, but some mental health hospitals are kind of worse than prison. But no, okay. So she was found. This was a trial. She was found not guilty by reason of insanity. I really kind of want to watch that trial. Does anybody know if it was streamed? I sense a future stream. I absolutely do, Mo. There will be a future stream if we have video of this trial. And yeah, definitely. Oh, yes. Thank you, Jung, for reminding me or reminding everyone. If you are a new member, welcome, first of all. If you go to my YouTube channel and you click on the member tab, now you have exclusive access to Discord, my Discord. And let me explain it to you. Midnight Prayer, since you know what, or since you have that question. So Discord is, if you remember old school chat rooms, like the AOL chat rooms and things like that, that's essentially what Discord is. But I have my own space. I think it's called a studio. And under that, we have a bunch of different channels, like where you can go chat about different things. So we have the Lori Daybell, we have Letitia Stalk, we have, recommendations for me. We have tabs dedicated to my members and what they're into. And we do live trial watches during the day. So the branding case that we're going to talk about at 11 o'clock on my next stream, we've been streaming all last week in Discord and things like that. And it might look a little confusing when you jump in. Give it like an hour or so and you'll get the hang of it. It's really kind of straightforward. And it's free. You guys you need to create an account, but there's no fee for anybody to create an account. So it's just kind of might be a little bit of a learning curve, but once you get in there, it's a lot of fun. Good morning, Tatiana. Let's see. Mamas are having relaxing quiet. A second. Hopefully. I find it funny that like on Father's Day, I like spending time with the kids. But on Mother's Day, I feel like the mothers are like, okay, let me do something without the kids. When they're younger. When they're older, it's different. When they're my mom might be the different sort of circumstance. She always wants to be with her kids, but okay. So back when it happened, I actually had 5 children, 3 teenagers, a toddler, and an infant. I remember being so heartbroken for those children, so sad. Yes, and I don't believe that the insanity is an excuse for it. I think it needs to be studied, and that's kind of why I wanted to look into this. I wanted to see the reasons why, and I think the insanity or the mental health issues, whether it's postpartum, whatever, need to be studied, need to be understood by all, particularly other people that are in a position to prevent this, like the father in this particular case, or even this father. This is from February of this year. We're going to talk about this if we have time. Again, this is sort of a free-flowing stream, but this case here just happened this past February, He left the kids home alone. She was, although this is a little different because there appears to be, at least when the story first broke, that there was no sign of any sort of mental health anything going on with this particular mother. But in this case with Andrea Yates, it certainly sounds like it. And in fact, there was doctor's advice not to leave her alone with the children. And again, that might sound like, oh, well, she's the mother. Of course, she needs to have. If doctors are saying it's severe enough that you shouldn't be left alone with your children, then go get the help you need. And again, with me doing family law, I see this a lot. And I don't want to I'm not trying to say like I know everything, but I see a lot of people with mental health issues, and the courts will focus on you get the help you need, and then we have no problem with parenting time. I have clients that have closed head injuries. I have clients that suffer from PTSD. I have clients that suffer from severe bipolar 1 and other things. And then I have clients that are just sort of assholes. They run the gamut. And whenever you're dealing with this, the courts will defer to the medical professionals. And so a lot of times when we're dealing with this sort of situation in a family law setting, we'll say parenting time as recommended by the child's therapist or the mother's therapist or the father's therapist or treating physician or whatever, at their discretion and to the extent that they believe it's appropriate. And it happens in these types of cases when you're dealing with mental health issues. And these people obviously weren't divorced, so there would be no reason for the court to be intervening. But it shows that the system is taking notice of this, is kind of what I'm getting at. And people need to be aware of it as well. Let's see. Some of it might have been on Court TV. I'm going to look it up. I'm going to see. And if this trial was streamed, or at least if we have part of the testimony, maybe the mental health expert, maybe we can even figure out who the doctor that diagnosed her. It better not have been Dr. Lewis, but I want to know who the doctor was that diagnosed her. And yeah, go from there. We'll see what we can do, but definitely I'm interested in that. Good day to all the mothers in the chat. Yes, my mom always wants to be with us. Always wants. She'll just stop by and say hi. It's very lovely. But yes, and I feel the same about my kids. And again, I just don't get it when we have situations like this. But I'm not them. It is what it is. Everyone's got their different approaches to life. But just don't kill your kids, mothers. Just don't do it. It's not a good look for you. Let's see here. The law needs to be better. Sick asshole weeding out process. Okay, but here's the thing. It's not illegal to be an asshole. It's just not. There's nothing illegal about being an asshole. I tell a lot of my clients that. They're just assholes. There's nothing illegal about it. We can't sue, can't do this or that because they're an asshole. So we do have, that First Amendment kind of thing. Would that be something if it was Lewis? Oh my God, Dr. Lewis. If it was Dr. Lewis and she was victorious on here, I'm going to have to step back some of my criticisms of her. And if you guys don't know who Dr. Lewis is, she wrote the book on insanity defense. She testified in the Letitia Stout trial. And on my Rumble, we reviewed a documentary about her. We watched the whole thing, and we have commentary from an expert that I brought on, mental health professional that I use in some of my cases to kind of analyze Dr. Lewis herself. So if you guys are interested in that, check out my Rumble stream I did on that. And hopefully one of my moderators can put a link to that in the chat. Hey, all. Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day. Trying to join the Discord, but the link says it's expired. Okay. I might have to fix that. I haven't looked at the link in a while. If you are a new member, between this stream and my 11 o'clock stream, I'll see if I can update the link. And by the way, when this stream ends, it's going to redirect you automatically to my 11 o'clock stream. So you're stuck with me unless you opt out intentionally, just so you know. So if you're not back here on my 11 o'clock stream, I know that you left intentionally. Let's see. Yes, I know, Jung. I just mentioned it. Okay, all right. Number 3. I want to see if we can get through all of these. We got 45 minutes before my next stream. All right, Diane Odell. So in May 2003, an Arizona man purchased an unclaimed. Oh, I remember reading about this. He purchased an unclaimed contents of a few delinquent storage units. So you guys seen Storage Wars, right? So he's one out there auctioning and bidding on storage units. He goes in, he starts unpacking the boxes, and he discovers plastic wrapped corpses of 3 infants in the storage unit. Later, investigators discovered a 4th child. Why save them? Just why the storage unit? The investigative trail led police back through 30 years of life of a woman named Diane Odell. During this time, she moved across state lines anywhere from 7 to 10 times. I'm not sure if I know why that's relevant. When they finally caught up with her in Pennsylvania, Odell admitted that the 3 babies did indeed belong to her. Okay, good. She claimed them. She claimed, however, that the children died natural deaths. But again, why save them? My Discord is making noise. Is someone trying to post something to me directly? No. Okay. I thought maybe someone was sending me a new link. All right, here, let me do this. No, I'll do it. I'll do it during the break. Do it during the break. All right. I'll put the Discord link, the new Discord link up in the break. I didn't know they expired, so I'll take care of that. So where was I? All right. Died natural deaths. Okay. When she changed her story and told police that her mother had killed the babies, who she considered bastard children, after forcing Diane into teenage prostitution. Okay. In total, Diane Odell had 12 children, and the 8 who survived had traveled with their mother through Utah, Arizona, Texas, New York, Pennsylvania, unaware that she was a murderer. Even her neighbors did not suspect such a ghastly truth. Describing her as a mother who consciously raised 7 children on unlimited income. So she had 12 children, 7 traveled with her, or 8 did. Okay. So there was 4 children that died, but she raised 8. Maybe there was some truth to the whole teenage prostitution thing. Okay, I am going to. You've seen uninvited to join server. What? Okay, all right. I got to mute my Discord because it makes noise in my ear and it distracts me. All right. So Diane told police that she carried the 3 babies in a suitcase while living in various states. When she finally left them in the Arizona storage facility, she had, for some reason, assumed that they would be unknowingly discarded. Okay. It was later reported that Diane Odell had narrowly avoided arrest in 1989 after a worker at a salvage yard almost destroyed her abandoned car, which contained a suitcase with a baby corpse inside. So that's the 4th one. At the time, investigators decided that they didn't have enough evidence to charge her. There's a baby in a suitcase in an abandoned vehicle. Apparently enough to connect Diane Odell because she was almost arrested for it. I feel like in 1989, that might not have been enough. But in 2023, you would need less evidence to convict her. Corpse in a suitcase. Yeah, apparently that's a common thing. Okay, since I was reading, let me see if I have any chats that oh yeah, Valhalla, thank you. My Rumble link is in there. Check out the video on Dr. Lewis. It's fascinating, the documentary that we watch. And it was even more fascinating because Mike, thankfully, was able to come on with us. Mike is a master licensed social worker, and he was able to come on and answer some questions and throw out his 2 cents. And, some of the criticisms we had of Dr. Lewis kind of went away with Mike's explanation, such as like, well, how do you know that your client's lying? Well, you don't really. You got to kind of probe it. But then also some things that Mike said really condemned Dr. Lewis's approach, such as maybe going back through the patient's history, which Dr. Lewis didn't do for Letitia. All right. So I worked with a mom back in 2013 that committed a murder-suicide on herself and her 2 kids. Ooh, that's not good. It was devastating to all of us. We would have never had a clue that this could happen. A lot of people say that about suicide too. Like sometimes the signs are really subtle, and just sometimes you can't tell, or they're living with it in a certain way, they're acting a certain way that could be indicative of suicidal thoughts, but because they've had it for so long and people in their lives are just, this is the way this person acts, as opposed to all of a sudden they're acting this way as opposed to how they acted in the past. I feel like it could be hard to spot. Glenda Jones, thank you. Good morning and happy Mother's Day if you are a mother. And if you're not still, happy Mother's Day, I suppose. Andrea Yates won on appeal. Interesting. Appeals do work sometimes. Appeals do work. And I get emails every day from the Court of Appeals that in Michigan and the Michigan Supreme Court updating me on appeals. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of appeals that are filed every day. The odds are small in your particular case. You are one out of thousands of appeals, but appeals get granted every day for a variety of reasons. Things are sent back down for clarification, sent back down for new trials, whatever it may be. So there are a lot of appeals that do win. It's just that your individual appeal has a low threshold or a low percentage of winning just because of the voluminous of the appeals. Let's see. That would be your luck. Yeah, buying a storage unit. Yeah, I kind of don't want to buy storage units now. Let's see. I put the police interrogation in the Discord. Oh, okay. That's the chiming that I heard on Discord. Okay, we might have to watch that. I kind of don't have time, but I kind of also want to watch that. No, I'm going to go through the rest of the article though, because that was my plan, and we'll watch that another time. Good morning, Chandler. Welcome. It's early for you out in California. All right. Went to school with a woman where the dad wanted back into the daughter's life. She took a charcoal grill into the bedroom. Ooh. Yeah. So one of the things we talked about earlier on in this article is that there's basically 5 reasons that researchers have narrowed down for why mothers kill. And one of them is the revenge on the spouse. Spousal revenge filicide, where the mother kills the children as a sort of a revenge to the spouse. There's also the unwanted child filicide, the maternal, or the it could have also been, what is it? Let's see. Best interest of the child. So it could have been a combination of the two. Well, the child's better off dead than with father. See a lot of stuff. Okay, so it was later reported she narrowly avoided. Yeah, but what happened with her? Was she? I'm assuming she was charged. They don't give a really good explanation. All right, number 4 of our wonderful mothers to be discussed on this most wonderful of holidays is Diana Lumberia. Lumberia. I am horrible with names, just so everybody knows if you haven't observed thus far. All right. Her modus operandi never wavered. Diane would have a baby, And at some point within the first few years, the child would be rushed into the emergency room with complaints of seizures and lethargy. Lethargy, I believe, is where they're just kind of like lethargic. They're tired all the time. They don't really want to do anything. They're not as active as they should be. So, some of the 6 children were dead on arrival. Some, all right. Although doctors could not find a medical reason for the deaths, they did not initially suspect foul play. I imagine that's similar to why the other woman moved, and I imagine this particular woman probably brought him into 6 different hospitals. If you stay in the same place and you go to the same hospital, they might start stacking up to the point where somebody realizes um, something's going on. So even the children of relatives were not safe from this murder. Really? She killed other family members' kids? On October 8th, 1980, Diane took her cousin's 6-week-old infant, Erica, for a drive. Within 30 minutes, they were at the emergency room with Diana telling the hospital staff her now familiar tale of child experiencing uh, inexplicably suffering lethal convulsions. Diane had one more child die in Texas before she pulled up stakes and relocated to Garden City, Kansas. This provides, let's see, this provided to be, oh, I'm sorry, this proved to be her undoing. She became pregnant again and gave birth. What years? We're talking about the 80s here, people. There are birth control methods. She became Broken Baker, you and I need to talk about that nurse that kills a bunch of people over in Denmark. And, I just had a thought like, their birth control methods. This woman got off on the fact that kids were dying. And just like the nurse that would make people sick to the point where they would die. And she kind of got off on that. There's a great, not great, it's an okay. There's a drama about it on Netflix. That's actually a Danish drama that's been dubbed over in English, based on a Danish nurse that was drugging and killing a bunch of people. But we need to talk about that too. So that might be what's going on here with this woman. She just likes that sort of the excitement or adrenaline or whatever that comes from this. Let's see. Diana had made a critical mistake, however, when she took the child to a pediatrician the day before. Not finding anything wrong with the child, the pediatrician described antibiotics as a precaution and sent him home with the mother. Diane never filed or filled the prescription. Unlike the many previous medical professionals who never suspected foul play, the Garden City doctors immediately contacted authorities. During the investigation, police learned the death of the children in Texas and gathered evidence of Diane's fraudulent statements to creditors, which include made-up claims of child leukemia and the death of her father in a car accident. Additionally, they discovered a $5,000 life insurance policy on little Joe. Interesting. I wonder if she is getting life insurance on all the kids. I need a life insurance dance like that chapter. Mike has that chapter life insurance dance. I need to put one of those. That could be my swoop as the life insurance dance. Seems to be a recurring thing here. We also have leukemia, child leukemia, Munchausen by proxy, maybe. Before long, Diane found herself indicted on multiple counts of murder. Following the trial, jurors took less than an hour to find her guilty. She was subsequently sentenced to life in prison with a minimum of 15 years before she would be eligible for parole. A few weeks later, Texas Rangers flew Diane back to Texas, where she faced 3 counts of murders with possible death sentence under a new serial murder statute. In an ironic twist of self-preservation, Diane pled guilty to the murder of her daughter to avoid being executed. The additional 2 charges of murder were dropped in a plea agreement, and Diane would be returned to Kansas to begin serving her time. Diana was paroled on June 30th, 2005, and sent directly to Texas. Okay, I was going to say she was paroled and let out. No. She was okay. So she was paroled from Kansas and then sent to Texas. Although she is apparently on the parole review process, her last parole request was denied in 2018. The Texas Department of Criminal Justice wrote that she posed a considerable threat to public safety. I would think so. Her next one, ooh, it's coming up. Her next parole is this year, 2023. Let's see if she gets it. Yeah, so that is that. Again, I like Nick's comment about trying to read and then also read the chat. So now I'm going to go back up and see if I missed anything. Let's see. My old school mate had 2 children unalived by their dad because he was jealous. Yeah, okay, so what's going on in Denmark, man? Because I thought Denmark was like paradise next to Sweden. And then I'm hearing about murders and stabbings and now all this. I'm just happy to hear that Denmark is as dysfunctional as the US. So that's good. Into the Sharknado with this woman. I've never watched that movie. Let's see. What birth control measures you say? I don't know. Not having sex. For one. Let's start there and use the other means as necessary. Let's see here. I wonder if there's any kind of mental health illness where women enjoy being pregnant, but not motherhood. Oh, that's interesting. I wonder if it could be sort of a branch off of Munchausen, because Munchausen, well, no, because Munchausen, you're faking the illness. But it could be an attention grabbing thing. Chris Rock, by the way, if you guys haven't seen Chris Rock's latest Netflix stand-up special, check it out. It's great. He's got a great thing of, and it's so true. Americans, and this kind of goes to what was talked about on Flex's stream last night a little bit, especially what Drex had to say. Americans are focused on attention. They want attention. They're addicted to attention. And there's 3 ways to get it, according to Rock, and I absolutely agree. You can be work hard and be like intelligent and do something that's great that grabs attention. You can show your ass, or you can be a victim. Those are the 3 ways to get attention. And if you're addicted to attention, showing the ass and being a victim are the easier ones. So that's why I think we have a lot of victimhoods and what do you call it? I don't know, that website where ladies get undressed for money. So I think that's one of the fundamental issues that's facing our society. And this might be also sort of a branch off of that. It's the attention. It might be the attention, and I don't know. That's a good question for Mike. I'm actually going to bring on, if you guys know Mike, he's a master social worker. I've used him in a lot of my cases as an expert witness. I'm going to bring him on. I told him we're going to do a stream, just him and I, and we're going to talk about mental health in the current criminal justice system. And that would be a good question for him. I don't know when that's going to be planned for. It's probably not going to be for another couple of weeks, but we'll get it out there. I'll try to get it with enough notice so that you guys can prepare some of those questions. And we will ask him all the questions we have, because I have a lot too. That chapter is awesome. I know I reached out to Mike actually on a couple of things, and I haven't heard back from him. But that's okay. I'm a small channel. He's big. He's huge. He's got millions of views. But he's doing also That Chapter podcast, which is a little more free flowing. And so I reached out to him about some of that. She should never get parole. Now, mind you, this is from my mother, who my mother says, I never want to sit on a jury. There's absolutely no way I could convict anybody because I don't want to be wrong and I don't want to send them to prison. Says this woman shouldn't get parole. So I just want to give you some context for my mother's comments. Was it Denmark or Norway that they had, let's see, the horrible spree shooting a few years back? Some school threats. I don't know if it was Denmark or Norway. Oh, I'll take a trip to Norway and take lessons from you. Oh, wait. Oh, okay. You were in comments, something else. You guys got to tell me if that was Denmark or Norway, because I don't know. Let's see here. There is also a little thing called historical pregnancy. Women actually believe that they are pregnant when they are not. Their stomachs grow. That's interesting. Hysterical pregnancy. Breastfeeding an adult son. What is the conversation in chat that I am missing out on? I feel like if the child's old enough to ask for it, they're too old to get it. That's my thoughts on breastfeeding. Okay. Oh, someone says Norway. And then fake pregnancy is called pseudocasis in severe cases. So I don't know how to pronounce that word. But good to know. I feel like I might have heard that at one point, but I don't remember what it all entails. But we could do a whole stream on on women's insanity. All right, but this is a Mother Day stream, so let's get back to the last mother who decided to murder her children that we have up for today, Mary Beth Tinning. It took 18 years and the death of 8 children before someone finally pointed the finger at Mary Beth Tinning. And that's the thing, too. We were talking about earlier, like you give birth to a child and maybe you're at a hospital and maybe you fill out a birth certificate, but then that's it. Everyone's like, all right, cool. See you in 6 years when you signed up for kindergarten. And if the kid never signs up for kindergarten, how you going to know? And again, I'm not advocating any new laws. I like it that way. It's just sometimes this happens. In what is widely considered one of the worst cases of Munchausen syndrome by proxy, Joe and Mary Beth Tinning had 8 natural children who all suffered mysterious ailments while in the care of Mary Beth. The symptoms all conspicuously disappeared after they were admitted to the hospital. Interesting how that happens. Because the deaths occurred between 1967 and 1985, a time when medical science was still largely unfamiliar with causes of Munchausen syndrome by proxy, doctors and nurses were not as quick to suspect the possibility of the mother killing her children, especially with no real evidence of wrongdoing. Instead, medical personnel made statements to the effect that the death may have been a genetic disorder, but genetics cannot play a factor in the deaths of the couple's adopted son, Michael. See, that's where she went wrong. That's where she went wrong. You can't claim genetics for an adopted child. Just one too many is really what it was. But then also, why adopt? Why adopt if you don't want them? It was the couple's 5th child and an obvious contradiction to the medical theory. However, it wouldn't be until the couple's 9th child. So 4 more had to go. You had the adopted child die under an erroneous theory. 1985 was finally caught the attention of the police. During the interrogation, Mary Beth confessed to smothering Tammy and 2 other children. She later retracted her statement and said she had only smothered 2 of her children. Okay, so 2. Yeah, that's okay. She was later convicted for the murder of Tammy and sentenced to 20 years in prison. In 2018, after several failed attempts, Mary Beth was granted parole and released from prison. In 2018, she was released. She's walking amongst us. She's walking amongst us right now. So other cases of parents who killed their children, Paula Sims, John List. This is not Father's Day. We're not doing that. We'll do that for Father's Day. Actually, somebody put it in the chat earlier. And I think you're new, and I forgot your name. Man, I can't find it. Okay. We have a new member. You're in the chat, and you posted a question about I wonder what the numbers are between fathers versus mothers who kill their children. We're going to do a Father's Day stream. This is equal. This is equal across the genders here, folks. We are going to do a Father's Day stream where we're going to talk about fathers who murder. And maybe by that point, I will be able to pull up a study that talks about the difference between maternal filiation. I'm going to say it wrong unless I have the word in front of me. Maternal filicide versus paternal filicide. So maybe we can actually take a look at those two. And probably a good question from Mike too, upcoming. Yes, it was you. Midnight prayer. Yes, thank you. Thank you for that. We're going to do that. We're going to do a Father's Day stream on Father's Day, which is June 18th, I think. So June 18th, we'll do a Father's Day stream. And hopefully I'll have some answers for you by then. So it's like a month away. We'll do that. That's an interesting question. Not that it, I guess, matters at the end of the day. A death is a death, especially when it's a child's death. But it's interesting nonetheless. And for those who don't know, I am a licensed practicing attorney in the state of Michigan, but my undergrad is in sociology as well as history because people fascinate me. The reason why people do things fascinates me. And I like looking at why they do stuff. It is June 18th. I thought so. You got to have your own holidays, up here. So you know when people are supposed to celebrate you. Mothers are more likely to kill infants. That might be true. It might be actually a difference in the age. So infants and smaller children, more likely mothers, older kids, teenagers. I can see a lot of fathers going after them. No, Jamie's birthday is the 19th. And we might have to do a happy birthday stream for Jamie. By the way, Flux, if you're still in here, I screen captured your stream from yesterday and I shared it with Jamie and Mo because they deserve all the praise for a lot of my videos. And they're becoming an integral part to some of my streams. So I appreciate them, but I wanted to share with them the kind words that you and your panel had to say about Mo and Jamie. They do they do a lot of great work. Mo's got her own channel. It should be in the link if it's not, or it should be in the chat, by the way, if it's not. Mo in the Wild, I think is what it's called, right? Mo in the Deep End. Is it Mo in the Deep End or Mo in the Wild? I don't know because it's been a couple of different things. But either way, Mo's channel should be in the chat. You guys can all check it out. And then at some point, Jamie might do her story time with Jamie stream. I don't know what she's got going on, or if she's even has any desire to do her own YouTube channel. But if she does, she'll be good at it. Let's see. There is a case in Sweden about a decade ago where both parents killed their daughters because they thought that they were ill to have a meaningful life. The illness is ADD, nonverbal autism. Nicola, I want to feel. I feel like there was a Sweden has like a Dateline kind of show, and my wife watches it, and I believe there was a story about these were foreigners, right? They weren't native Swedes. If I'm thinking of the same case, maybe you can let me know. They were foreigners, but it did like the murders took place in Sweden. That was an interesting case. Okay, so Mo in the Deep End is what ADD landed on. Oh, my ADHD landed on. Okay, Mo in the Deep End. All right, very good. Love sociology and history. If you want to know how people think, look at history and study sociology. Psychology is a racket, but much like statistics, if you look at an individual person, you're not going to be able to predict what's going on. But if you look at people in a group, think of it like an ant colony, you can predict human behavior in virtually any society. And that's what sociology is. It's looking at humans as a ant farm. And it's just fascinating. Let's see. I can't help you. You mean sociology can't help you study a psychopath? Or you can't help me study a psychopath? Yeah, so you love this idea for the stream. Pretty brilliant. I'm going to give it Uh, I'm going to give the credit to my wife who came up with this. We, we were driving around yesterday and we were talking about Mother's Day and potentially doing something for Mother's Day on a stream. And she started sending me these pictures and actually sent me this article. So I'm going to give her full props for this. And now she's off doing her own Mother's Day thing right now. Okay. All right. So, damn it. It can. All right. So let's go back up. It can help you study a psychopath. Sociology. Yes. Sociology can help you study a psychopath. Uh, not like to predict somebody. Like in the Letitia Stout case, they had the pathway of violence um, expert that was testifying about that. And in the Crumbly parents, the Crumbly case, James and Jennifer Crumbly, that's the parents of the Oxford school shooting. They also have a pathway to violence expert. That pathway to violence expert in the Crumbly case, I went through the whole course of opinion on one of my prior videos. So if you guys are interested, check it out. But the expert was saying essentially what the idea is we're studying all these mass shooters, all these school shooters, all these children that are violent or turn violent and all this stuff in order to try to predict a pathway to violence and see these warning signs and defer it somehow shape or form. But the own experts say it's impossible to predict and or intervene. So the court in the Crumbly case actually excluded this expert from testifying because she basically can't come to the conclusion that the prosecutor wanted her to come to. And so, yes, it can help you study a psychopath, but not predict them. Let's see. Yeah, and Chandler, by the way, congratulations. I heard you went a full day. That's probably a couple of days ago now. So hopefully it's a couple of full days. So very exciting for you. Yes, I consider you all ants. You're all ants. Okay. All right. All right. Let's move on. Let's move on. Yes, typos do ruin the joke sometimes. Press the like button, please. Yes. What do we have? Let's see here. If you guys are here listening to this wonderful Mother Day special and you haven't given it a thumbs up, why are you still here? Please show some love. Tell your friends, share the stream. It's Mother's Day. You have all day. You can share the stream with your mothers, other mothers in your lives. Share it with them. Share the happiness that is my Mother's Day stream. Is Susan Smith up there? I had so many photos and I don't know if she made it. There's actually there's layers of photos of these women. So she might be in the background actually, because I just started throwing photos out there and then just sort of shaking them up. And she might be like behind layers where we can't see her. But Susan Smith was a photo that I have, and it should be in there somewhere. Let's see here. The crime rate is low in Norway, so we saw nearly every single murder here. I think Sweden is similar. Nicholas, you would have a better idea. Do you solve it, or do you just go with the first suspect and ram a conviction? Let's see here. Cool. Good to know, Chandler. Good to know. Now you can do your video. By the way, Chandler, when you do your Sarah Boone video, I don't know if you're going to do it live or if you're going to like pre-record it and post it. If you are doing it live, I would be happy to attend. I might go as far as invite myself sort of situation. I'm very interested in that Sarah Boone case. If you will have me. If not, no worries. You do your thing. But I want to do, I'm going to cover the Sarah Boone trial. It's starting July 25th currently. It was delayed, and hopefully it's not delayed anymore. That's in my schedule to cover the trial live all the way through. And, but I'd like to hear some other thoughts on the case. So anyways, I'm looking forward to that. All right. I think that's it. We have about 15 minutes before my 11 o'clock stream, which is the Brandon case, the minister killing out of New Hampshire. So I am going to end the stream now, and you should all be redirected to that stream. You guys can hang out for a bit. I can make some more coffee and check on some things, and then we'll jump in there. What we're going to do today on that stream, by the way, because I've been the trial has been streamed in my Discord all last week, thanks to Jamie and her desire to just be an awesome person and stream this trial in my Discord. We've been watching it, and I've been jumping in and out, but I'm not up to speed on all of it. And unfortunately, although it's a short trial, there's not a lot of time. I don't know how much we're going to get actually through, but I'm going to start as if we are watching this trial stream live day 2. I'm going to jump through some witnesses that I feel are important, some testimony that I feel is important in this case, and hopefully we can get through day 2, day 3 of this trial. I covered day 4, which wasn't a lot. We'll talk about day 4, but Monday morning, this defendant is going to decide, 1, if he's going to take the stand, and 2, if he's going to represent himself for the rest of the trial. So I have no idea what's going on there. The only thing I can suspect is that he wants to take the stand and say something that could potentially be perjurious. And when an attorney is faced with offering perjury on the stand or falsified documents or essentially perpetrating a fraud on the stand, they have to withdraw from the case. And I think that might be what's going on, because I have no idea why at the start of your defense case in chief, you're all of a sudden going to go at it alone. It's the only thing I can think of, but I'm purely speculating. I have no idea, but it's an interesting kind of twist. So that will be determined Monday morning, and I want to try to get everybody up to speed on this trial before then, so we can all watch it Monday morning and see what happens in the case in chief. The defense hasn't started yet. They haven't called any witnesses yet. The state rested on Friday. There was an argument for a directed verdict, and then there were a bunch of conferences at the bench about the defendant testifying and about whether or not he would be represented going forward. So that's going to be interesting. Please smash that like button. Yes, please tell your friends about this channel. Help it grow, that sort of thing. And what does the plaque behind you say? I am curious. So the plaque behind me is Swedish, and it says, I believe, and Nicholas is probably going to correct me, but essentially it says only dead fish swim with the current or swim with the stream. That's what it says. And because of that, we have a sort of a mantra that's been developed here, which is at the helm against the current, in reference to that Swedish saying behind me on the wall. So, it's Nicholas isn't chiming in. I think that's direct translation. Fish that are dead flow with the stream, I think is what it literally translates to. But yeah. So, all right. I will see you guys all in about 10, 15 minutes. Chat is dead fish. Wait, what? It's not what it says. It's not what it says, Nicholas. All right. No end credits. I'm just going to end the video, and I'll see you all shortly.